I'd like to tell you a story about a town that you may or may not be familiar with. The story starts in downtown Briarcliff Manor. We'll pass the patio, a restaurant which used to be the town's fire station, and the atria, an assisted living facility which up until 1985 was the middle school. And on the corner there is the Congregational Church. If you look closely, you might glimpse a peculiar stone lantern. And now, here we are, at the parking lot outside the Briarcliff Manor Public Library. There are a few more things around here that you might find interesting. Indeed, here's another one of those lanterns.
There are 6 of them in total. They came originally, we think, from Japan via China.
Brought here by one Mr. Walter William Law.
In memory of Walter William Law, 1837 to 1924, founder of the village of Briarcliff Manor and donor of this park. Law Park was donated sometime around the First World War.
But it wasn't always known as Law Memorial Park, of course. In fact, it first started with the name Liberty Park, but Law died in 1924.
At which point the name was changed to Law Park in his memory.
And the town has taken advantage of the space to construct several historical displays.
Now we're by the War Memorial in Law Park. Some of the names will be familiar to you perhaps from the names of roads in Briarcliff Manor. For example, we have Zydock, we have Shrade, we have Hurst roads. A practice in Briarcliff Manor of naming roads, at least some of them, after fallen war heroes. What's not on this war memorial is the Korean War.
The Korean War, sometimes referred to as the Forgotten War. And it is perhaps apropos for Briarcliff Manor's own John Kelvin Kolsch.
This memorial here is devoted to Briarcliff Manor's Medal of Honor recipient, Lieutenant John Kelvin Kolsch, who bravely volunteered to go on a mission with his helicopter to pick up a downed airman in North Korea.
And although he traveled all over the country during his time with the U.S. Navy, he had grown up in Briarcliff. So it only made sense for Karen Smith, director for the Historical Society, to make sure he had a plaque for the town to remember him by. But war memorials aren't the only thing Law Park has to offer.
Behind me stands the pavilion in Law Park. It has this distinctive Tudor revival style that was so popular at the end of the 19th century, the beginning of the 20th century. Built as a common space for people to be able to congregate. Unfortunately, a few years ago there was a bad fire here. It wasn't destroyed in its entirety, but it had to be substantially rebuilt. Thankfully, the builders took care to restore it
back to its original look, which is why it still has that distinctive Tudor revival facade. But then, where else do we see this style but on the public library right down the hill?
And so we come to the Briarcliff Manor Library. This wasn't always a library, and it wasn't always this big. It was originally a train station on the Putnam line that was built by Walter Law in the early years of the 20th century.
But the original station was fairly smaller than the library you see today.
On either end are pieces that were fairly recent additions.
But it's not just what's above ground that's important to us.
The Briarcliff Manor-Scarborough Historical Society is located on the lower level.
So, let's go check it out.
Historical Society on the lower level. Press B.
But in order to really understand the story behind this place, we have to understand a bit about someone else's story first.
Eileen Weber. She was born here in Briarcliff and grew up here on Sleepy Hollow Road. The openness and friendliness and just the spirit of Eileen.
Karen shared with me what made Eileen so special.
It was her personality. She was such a warm person. If she didn't know you, she made it her business to know you. People really loved her.
Eileen's family was quite friendly with the Laws, according to an article on the Historical Society's website.
When it came time for her to go to college,
Henry Law, one of Walter Law's sons, gave Eileen an offer. He said
that he would send her any place she wanted to go to college. She said, "What a deal." And those might have been her words. She went to the 2-year Edgewood School And from there, she worked for some of the top advertising agencies in Manhattan.
Eileen Weber was a special woman whose legacy in many ways still remains today.
Once upon a time, the Historical Society was an organization without a home. It consisted of materials scattered throughout hot attics and wet basements until...
When it came for us to finally get a home, it seemed obvious to the people who were making those decisions that it should be the Eileen O'Connor Weber Historical Center. Hello, welcome to the Briarcliff Manor-Scarborough Historical Society.
Around the Historical Society, there are several points of interest. The first of which Karen showed me was the Roads and Houses collection. This is a collection of images and information about all the houses and roads throughout Briarcliff Manor. The houses are beautiful, and many have historic importance, and the roads that connect them are just that, roads, not streets or boulevards, but roads. Law made a special point during the development of the area that all the roads that connected Briarcliff would be called roads, and despite few exceptions, for the most part, this still remains true today.
I'll show you my house. I'm here in the Knoll Drive, Pine Road drawer. Here it is, Oak Rose. I moved here in 1973. The tree streets are so warm and you can't help but enjoy the beauty of the place itself and the neighbors. Zydock Road is over here.
For example, we have Zydock.
I was in a good spot. So what we have in here are some pictures that were taken just as we could. I happen to have some pictures of summer and winter. I also have a property card that tells me who the previous owners were. The people that we bought the house from was Bozak, and it's been my privilege to have lived there since 1973.
Another point of interest is the Historical Society's map collection. While some of these maps are on display,
Farm he bought.
Briarcliff Farm.
Briarcliff Farm.
Many of them can be found sorted away into one rather massive filing cabinet. Here, the collection consists of maps dating from the colonial times all the way up to present day. And then there is the Briarcliff Manor Historical Society book collection, which is perhaps one of its more impressive collections. It is like the brain of the society, with over 300 volumes, some of which cannot be found anywhere else. It has topics ranging from the Hudson Valley and Westchester County to famous local personalities and authors.
This is the baby book of the Hersey family. Their youngest son, John, grew to be an important author. This shows a woman caring for this baby, pushing him in a swing, and it's just precious, and there's only one of these. And we're glad we have it.
If the Historical Society's book collection is the brain of the organization, its research collection is the heart, containing all of the people, places, and histories that make up this town. It has been meticulously compiled by Karen and contains such notable selections as the Foundational Years collection, with information on Walter Law, the impressive Briarcliff Lodge, and the town's road race, as well as the collection Karen affectionately calls the Village People, an alphabetical assemblage of the important people of Briarcliff Manor. And finally, there is the Artifacts collection, most likely to catch your eye if you just peek your head in. The Historical Society is home to a small but precious collection of treasured memorabilia. Here are a few staff picks.
This is a classical piece that we're very proud to have one of. This is a water bottle. Walter Law was nothing if he wasn't entrepreneurial. So many businesses. Briarcliff Farms, Briarcliff Table Water, Roses. He was into construction, but this was one of the items that he produced, and it was sold in fancy shops in Manhattan. This is a dressmaker's form that is adjustable by screws. So if you were to come to a dressmaker's shop in 1912, when this was patented, these would be adjusted to be whatever size you are. We have this little petticoat, and everybody needs pearls.
And of course, Eileen is never forgotten in the various things she has left behind.
And if you're Eileen, you need a top hat. a beaver top hat. Actually, I'm sitting in one of the chairs from her house here.
Looking around the Historical Society, I could tell, above all, it is a place held up by the director's absolute love and dedication for this town's story. Near the front door is a framed message containing the Society's mission statement. It says that the organization's overriding purpose shall be to promote lasting interest in the history and traditions of the community, and the people here are doing just that, working hard to keep our history alive. There are so many tales to explore. Stay tuned for more videos. We'll hear all about those odd lanterns and how each ended up where it did. We'll go into depth on the history behind Briarcliff's Lodge, which burned down in the early 2000s. And we'll learn about the town's trophy race, the first American international road race, which started here in Briarcliff all the way back in 1908. But in the meantime,
We'd love to show it to you when you come to visit.
why not come visit? We're located below the public library. We're open most weekdays from 9 until 4, and we're always happy to show you around.